Today we're talking about Africa economic revolution. Basically, U.S. diplomacy in Africa. What's the latest? The latest in terms of where we're heading when it comes to Africa, when it comes to U.S. policy. There was an event a couple of days ago. The Ambassador Troy Fitrell, which is actually a senior advisor from the Trump administration when it comes to African affairs, delivered a keynote address in Africa in Cote d'Ivoire, really emphasizing a transformative U.S. policy moving from providing aid to really promoting trade partnership with African nations. The approach aimed basically to treat Africa as an equal commercial partners, focusing on mutual economic growth. Yeah, this is it happened a couple of days ago. It's on YouTube. I read about it. It's also posted on the website. And I think the US is really focusing on six strategy when it comes to Africa. Number one, commercial diplomacy, meaning that US ambassadors in Africa are now evaluated based on the effectiveness in promoting American business interests and facilitate deals. Second strategy was market reform. You need a lot of market reform, meaning collaborating more with African government to implement key market reform that attract U.S. investment, stuff that I'm reading here. The third was infrastructure. Of course, prioritize infrastructure development that really unlock economic growth, that are attractive to U.S. businesses. Four, what is it? And I'm reading this, focus on more conducting trip that really focus on trade and investment opportunity. Fifth, connecting U.S. company. That's it, bridging the gap between U.S. companies and African market, especially for those new to the continent. And I think the last strategy was basically reforming, financing tools, because we got to advocate for more structural reform in U.S. trade promotion and financing tools, just to better support American company who are going to invest across African nation. The call to action is basically U.S. company are encouraged to invest time in understanding African markets, emphasizing more on cultural literacy, cultural understanding, local partnership for really a successful engagement. And we got to take time with this because at the end of the day, in 2025, we have to understand where the Trump administration stand when it comes to U.S. policy towards Africa. So that's kind of the latest. And it comes down to accountability on both sides. It's about business, man. It's about just making sure that all these African nations focus on making sure that they're creating business environment friendly, and there's so many great countries across Africa, growing economies. So it's not like there's no progress. So it comes down to, look, so much to unpack, but at the end of the day, to simplify thing, it's just a win-win. The U.S. want to look at Africa as partners. No more of that aid stuff. It's trade and not aid. No charity, none of that. I think it's out the door. So this is the thing that's happening right now. And I think that it's positive now, got to execute. We got to move forward. We have to look at both sides because, in one particular African nation that the Trump is focusing on is DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. Right now the U.S. is really trying to secure these mineral deals between the Congo and the U.S. And the U.S. engagement is really actively engaging, facilitating peace agreement between the DRC, as we know, and neighboring country, as we know that for 30 years, the war in Eastern Congo, blah, blah, blah. We know this thing, and really focusing on facilitating this peace, recognize that stability is really that prerequisite before making money, before economic development. So that's the role that the U.S. is playing. So the private sector can follow suit because at the end of it, the message is about the importance of ethical investment practices, local partnership, and contributing to the DRC development beyond all these resource extraction, because we know the DRC is rich in mineral that the U.S. need, all the cell phone that we have, all the technology, the laptop, the DRC can possess mineral that's valuable to the electronic industry, electronic cars. I mean, you name it, right? So we know the Congo is the most mineral rich country on the planet. So the goal is about shifting this narrative, shifting this shift can open a door between American businesses to engage in mutual beneficial partnership so we can have many American companies travel to Kinshasa or across the Congo just to do business that have a win-win that benefit the local, create jobs. And quite frankly, we know for the U.S. about really being that strategic partner and, be China. So as we have this whole geopolitical drama between you know, all this country that are fighting over Africa resources and whatever, how you want to uh, perceive that, the U.S. basically want to set the tone and give China competition. And Africa's open business to the world. That's right. I mean, every company's over there. I mean, Asian and Indonesian and Japanese, China, you name it, right? Just um, the whole world. So that's what we're talking about. The DRC is very important right now, and Congo is open for business. But stability is the key because stability in the region in Eastern Congo or across the country mean that it can open door to conducive environment for long-term investment. So, yeah, so I think, yeah, there was some great event conversation around a couple of days ago. One was also the Atlantic Council Africa Center that basically I think it happened on May 16. Yeah, it's on YouTube. Basically, it's about focusing on the DRC role in critical mineral, that vision of stability, the role that the U.S. is playing right now. And all these events at the end of the day, man, it does really underscore a pivotal moment in 2025 in U.S. Africa relation under the new administration, emphasizing the importance of strategic partnership because that's the narrative now. No more aid, and despite of everything that's happening, the tariff, you name it, I think let's stay focused that Africa now is becoming that U.S. strategic partner. We have to find how can other city and state follow suit because the message is simple. When it comes to Africa economic revolution, Africa is rising. Africa is ready. And why U.S. company must pay attention now? Because now it's the time. Now, because Africa is not a charity case anymore and no more. So I feel like it is your next business partner. That's how you have to look at. That's how on the Trump administration, the shift is now from aid to trade, from aid to trade, from aid to trade. Africa as a commercial equal, no more recipe of handout. The DRC sits on 3 trillion mineral, including 60% of the world cobalt. Those minerals that help power our cell phones, as I mentioned that early, electric vehicle, clean energy tech. So the U.S. policy is very clear. That's the word out of Washington. They're investing in peace by investing in people and resources. So we hope that it's going to trickle down to really that win-win benefit because it's about really create this local partnership, joint venture, and peace negotiation, man. Uh, but look, all that's not easy. It's hard, but you got to start somewhere because the biggest takeaway I believe is to focus on the fact that number one, peace is a business opportunity. Despite all this instability and challenging in the Congo, Eastern Congo, I think the U.S. is trying to help broker peace through economic cooperation, not just diplomacy, because I think you have to mix diplomacy and business strategy and trying to really focus on all these mining zone that creates so much drama. So investment can be powerful than force. And also understand the local knowledge is global power, man. 90% of mineral discovery in Congo have come from Congolese geologists. In our foreign company, I think you have to, in order to succeed in Congo, you have to work with the local expert, not around them. Your strategy is incomplete without cultural understanding on the ground in the Congo, even across Africa in general. Commercial diplomacy equal U.S. policy, meaning that all these ambassadors are now graded on how many U.S. business deals they can support. So I think I think the Trump administration said within 100 days, 6 billion deals is going to be signed. So no more talking. That's the movement. It's about bring U.S. deal to Africa, and we'll, and win-win. So, yeah, it come down to just simple strategy for U.S. company, man. Step one, are you even ready before diving into Africa? Because I do a lot of market and culture readiness, a lot of survey. I'm trying to assess, you know, basically just you won't build a house without a blueprint, right? You can't enter a foreign market without understanding local laws, norms, and networks. So that's what we do. We do survey, we use tool to make sure you understand the markets, understand the local culture, have a legal guide, build local partnership, know your risk, and how to manage this risk, which I think will help avoid costly mistake and build trust, because that's the key. And also we kind of help you choose your growth path. We have a lot of tool like the answer matrix. It's basically a tool to help you explore like what's your journey in Africa. We're looking at market penetration. Are you trying to sell more the same to the same customer? We can talk about market development, meaning that entering a new African market going to require a look at how you can develop, create new product across the African market, or how can you diversify? Because you can enter the African market with some new product, man, new markets. Um, but why this matter? I think, especially if you're small business, it's important too, especially small business sector, because the biggest opportunity in the next 10 years, they are not in Silicon Valley in the US. They are in city across Africa. There's mega city like Kinshasa, Accra, Nairobi, Dakar. These are mega city. And then you have Africa youth population is exploding, infrastructure is expanding, is growing. The government wants to partner. The U.S. government is backing you up. So I think we have to pay attention. It's not perfection, man, because the African government got to get it together, you know, and so does the U.S. So I think accountability goes for both ways. So it's just that, too many U.S. firms just do month of research and for a new product launch at home. But I think showing up in Africa with no plan, no partner, no clue, it's really you're gonna fail. So yes, we may not have a lot of big corporation interests across Africa, is because they focus more on market like Asia, Europe, I mean, you name it. But the continent, whew, the data is clear. It is the untapped market. It is the economic revolution that you have to be part of the conversation. So what we do here, we do a lot of market and culture readiness assessment as a business strategy firm, as an expertise in advising and entering the African markets. We have tools that can really help you have your Africa strategy, right? Understand your goal, find local geologists, especially if you're going to do focus on mining. And the Congo is where it's at right now, the DRC. So I think the bigger picture conclusion, if I can say, is basically Africa is the last major frontier for global growth. The Congo is is basically minerals for the tech world, man. Period. The U.S. is moving fast. Of course, to outcompete China and Russia through diplomacy. All that global drama, geopolitical drama, man. But you just have to be part of this mess drama equation, have a strategy. It's not impossible. So at the end of the day, if you're really serious about global expansion, don't sleep in that. Don't sleep on Africa, man. Africa is open for business. It's not a new conversation, but not for extractive relationship, extract. It's about bringing value, build trust, not so much focus on that business model that we're so used to. Extract. There's no win-win. I mean, Asian business model we know is built on infrastructure, so much on the fact that, hey, we're going to go to Africa. We're not going to intervene and focus on the drama, on the war. We just want to get this mineral extracted. We'll build hospital, we'll build road. I mean, we understand that. And yes, they have created local job, but you got to understand this is bigger than that. Africa is open for businesses. That's the reality. I think now the question is, where are the U.S.? So I feel like the Trump administration is setting the tone, and we got to be part of the equation. So connect with us.